Thank you, Pepsi, for providing beverages for our volunteers during our membership drive. Pepsi Cola is a community-minded business proud to support Public TV, Channel 12.
Once again, Neil Young in concert, an Austin City Limits special.
Look out, Mama, there's a white boat coming up the river with a big red beacon and a flag and a man on the rail. Thank you, Austin City Limits.
This is PBS.
Want us to drift into a hereditary monarchy? Become sinks of corruption like the Eastern potentates?
Rome will never.
Architects, and the IBM Rocky Mountain Employees Federal Credit Union, joining you in supporting Channel 6, your public television station for the Rockies.
For your information on nightly community.
Good evening. I'm Jim Lair in Washington.
And I'm Charlene Hunter-Gault in New York. After the news summary, politics is our lead focus. We examine the results of Mini Tuesday. Next, we have a report on a promising cancer treatment that's in short supply. And finally, correspondent Jeffrey Kay looks at why some scientists are combing the sky for killer asteroids.
Funding for the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour has been provided by PepsiCo. PepsiCo. Part of helping the world live and communicate better is keeping it well informed. That's why funding for the NewsHour is also provided by AT&T and by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and viewers like you.
There were many declarations of victory after yesterday's primaries and caucuses. They came from Democrats, Paul Tsongas, who won a primary in Maryland, caucuses in Washington State and Utah. Bill Clinton, who won the Georgia primary, Tom Harkin, who won a caucus in Idaho, a straw poll in Minnesota, and Jerry Brown, who won the Colorado primary. He spoke today in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Every night the media paid attention to the other candidates. The local papers and television began to cover my campaign the last few days, but the national media just utterly focused on those people, and that gave...
If you don't use this power, this force that you have within you, you're going to lose it. If you have the ability to write,
And if you don't write, you're going to lose the ability to write as well as you do right now. So whatever you want to do, whatever idea that you have, the longer that you're sitting on that idea, you are either creating or you are disintegrating. If you're not using it, your skills are diminishing every day. And there goes a second. There goes another second. And life is happening right now. But Les, what do you mean? Get your butt out of the way. So many people have gone to their graves, never discovered their true potentials because they allowed their butts to stop them. Like, you don't know what you cannot do if you're not willing to challenge yourself. Whatever it is that you don't know how to do right now, you can learn. I did not know how to speak for major corporations. I didn't know how to do that. But I decided to become a student. If you do your research, if you do your homework, if you make the commitment that I'm going to learn. A guy named Jim Rohn said, if you develop your gifts will take you places that you'll never begin to imagine. And I decided to do one thing. All my life, I've been a jack of all trades and master of none. I mean, I did a little of everything. I was a disc jockey. I was a state representative. I used to be an MC. I used to do public relations work. I used to do door-to-door sales. I did a whole lot of things. But I decided that I was going to do one thing, and I would master that. And after mastering the art of speaking, then I would become a trainer. And after doing that, then I said, I must become a businessman. Just find one thing and just decide that you're going to work with it until it gives you the blessing that you want, and don't let up on it. Just keep right on working it and working it and working it, and knowing that whatever you do, you can better your best, that you can get better at it, that whatever you are achieving right now, it's only a tip of the iceberg of what's possible for you. Most of us go through life with our emergency brakes on. Well, it might not work out. People might talk about me. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough education. I'm too ugly. See, you know, there are two kinds of people in life. There are winners and whiners, you know. Most people go through life just whining. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have good credit. They didn't like me, you know. No, life is not about that. The major key to your taking charge of your destiny is you. And I had to give a lecture that week on forgiveness. I can't talk about it unless I got a bigger and better home for my mama.
As I know many of you do, I appreciate Les Brown and Take Charge of Your Life. That's the kind of programming that you can expect on Channel 6 public television, the very best in educational, recreational, cultural, and of course, good entertainment programming throughout the year for 36 years. I'm Bill Pearson, volunteer from Colorado Medical Society, proud to be back here in the studio with all these other fine people to tell you about our television station. It's a fair price to pay. Channel 6 provides you with the full PBS schedule and its quality programming throughout. We have a challenge to meet. Well, we didn't quite make it on the last break. We had a challenge of 50 members at any level would get us another $1,000 from the Norgren Corporation here in Denver. Norgren has been a Denver community member for so many years and a good, solid supporter of Channel 6 and public television. Well, if we can get 30 members at any level during this break, we'll receive that $1,000. We need 30 of you to call and make your pledge and become a member of the Channel 6 family, because it assures you of quality programming throughout the year, and we'll be doing our very best for you. So get on the phone now and give us a call during this break. And now, here's Trudy Fowler.
Welcome to the Norgren phone bank. They're behind me, ready to take your call to make that challenge. As you recall, in the last break, we asked for 50 people to call, and we would gain another $1,000 from Norgren. Well, we didn't make that goal, I'm sad to say, but we're still remaining positive, because Norgren says if we can hear from 30 people right now, you'll get your $1,000. So we're asking you to make that commitment, to take charge of your life by personalizing it, by going to the telephone and taking charge of Channel 6's life and personalizing it by becoming a member. 30 members will gain $1,000 during this break. We're so close, we can make it. but give us that call. The Norgren people are here to take your call. We'll send you a remittance envelope. All you have to do is tuck that check into the envelope and mail it back to us. Or we can remind you on a monthly basis. If you'd like to make that commitment of $120 and it's a little bit too much to pay in one full payment, we'll remind you on a monthly basis, or it can be automatically deducted from your checking account. $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month to quality programming. Just as you invest in your cable services or perhaps your satellite services, invest in Channel 6 services. You can become an instant member by using your Discover Visa or MasterCard, and when you become an instant member, we'll be sending you, courtesy of King Soopers, a wonderful canvas shopping bag big enough to hold 2 bags worth of groceries. You don't have to make those difficult choices of plastic and between plastic and paper. You'll have your environmental bag with the Channel 6 logo on it. Also, at the $40 level or more, you'll receive a pass to the zoo, a great institution here in the area, and you'll be able to see their Wolfpack Woods or their wonderful polar bear exhibit. A great institution joining up with Channel 6 to bring you the very best in public broadcasting. They appreciate the fact that we bring you the National Geographic specials and so many wonderful nature programs, so they're anxious to be involved and support Channel 6, and we thank them for that. And we want to thank you when you become a member. Again, at the $40 level also, you will receive Les Brown's 9 affirmative principles, and that is at any level from our basic membership level of $40 or more. If the 60, 120, you'll receive the Les Brown affirmative principles if that's your choice. Give us a call now and receive those principles so that you can frame them or put them on your desk so you can refer to them every time you get a little bit down or maybe a little bit negative. Well, you can just refer to those. But right now we have a job to do, and we're depending on you to help us do it. So take charge, go to that phone, make that investment, and help us meet this very important challenge right now. 50 people altogether, 30 during this break, to earn that $1,000 from Norgren. Let's go over to Keith now.
Thank you. And coming up next, the Neil Sedaka in concert. If you want to vote for Les Brown and programs like we've just seen, thank you for calling. The phones are ringing. We're up to 8 new members. And if you have been thinking about it, you know what Les Brown said, you have a choice to grow or disintegrate, you know. Stay there on the couch or pick up the phone is what we'd like you to do. Join us. Be a member of Channel 6. No matter where you're watching us, we are your public television station. We'd like to thank Dick and Carla of Littleton. They've joined us at the 120 level, and they will be receiving not only Promo Magazine, but Colorado Homes and Lifestyles Magazine. By the way, when you join us at the regular level, at membership levels, our phone bank volunteers will explain them. You'll receive Promo Magazine coming to your home every month, and that's a great way for you to plan your viewing, especially if you're working at odd hours or something, you want to tape a show.
Cisplatin was not the treatment I wanted to use. I would much rather have used Taxol. The chances of her responding to Taxol would have been greater.
Oncologist Harry Richardson now shares Bodrog's frustration.
And then you find out that the drug is not available because the resource is being wasted, then that doesn't make any sense.
In an ironic twist, the same foresters who for years have destroyed naturally growing yew in the forest now are racing to cultivate the plant in the nursery. The Weyerhaeuser Company has planted some 4 million yew tree seedlings in its Washington State greenhouse. Foresters believe they'll be able to extract Taxol from the young needles of the plants, as a European company has done, rather than waiting decades for appreciable amounts of bark.
We certainly are basing our program on the belief and hope that several parts of the plant, especially the needles, the tops and the shoots, will in fact have usable amounts of Taxol. I think this is our best shot at producing Taxol in the near to midterm.
Weyerhaeuser's Dick Peesh predicts nursery-grown yew will satisfy a major part of the anticipated demand for Taxol within 3 to 4 years. Meanwhile, trying to create Taxol in a test tube has become the top priority for the nation's organic chemists.
These cultures do indeed produce Taxol. The amounts are at the moment minuscule, and so the challenge is now to get them to produce quantities that would be commercially interesting.
The University of Washington's Heinz Floss says a laboratory solution is still 5 to 10 years away. People like Ro Badrag will need to keep defying the odds until science can provide what nature once delivered in abundance.
Congress today held 3 separate committee hearings on yew tree management. Yesterday, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which runs the Forest Service, announced that yew trees could be harvested only for Taxol production, and that burning yew trees would be permitted only if essential for reforestation. Up to now, only the tree's bark had been protected by federal regulation.
Finally tonight, a report on an issue that has not yet been debated on the campaign trail: what to do about killer asteroids. Correspondent Jeffrey Kay of public station KCET Los Angeles reports.
On cold, wintry nights at Palomar Mountain near San Diego, when most Southern Californians are sleeping, astronomer Eleanor Helene of NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab searches the night skies for asteroids which may be on a close encounter with Earth.
That looks good. How's our time? 15 seconds? 15? Okay, what is that? 5, 4, 3. Open.
Helene's hunt has been going on since 1973.
I think the work is looked upon with much more respect than perhaps it was 20 years ago.
And how was it regarded then?
I suppose it was considered like, why are these people spending their professional life looking for and chasing, flying rocks? And I think perhaps some of my colleagues have even said as much in those words.
Behind your back, or maybe not behind your back.
A little bit of both, a little bit of both.
Scientists such as Helene and Dr. Clark Chapman of the Planetary Institute in Tucson, Arizona, say the search for so-called Earth-crossing asteroids is more than a quixotic quest.
Well, by the raw Las Vegas odds, the risk of death from an asteroid is about the same as the risk of death from an airliner crash for an average American.
Earth-bound asteroids are not an everyday, every year, or even an every century occurrence, but they do approach and sometimes strike our planet. In 1989, an asteroid half a mile wide crossed Earth's orbit only 6 hours before Earth reached the same point. If there had been a collision, it would have produced an explosion equal to 1,000 1-megaton bombs going off. In 1972, a tourist's movie camera shot this incredible footage of an asteroid streaking across the western Rockies. It skipped out of the atmosphere, never hitting Earth. Now, how big was the asteroid that hit here?
About 150 feet in diameter. It was a little one. That's a little asteroid.
Dr. Eugene Shoemaker of the U.S. Geological Survey has spent his life looking for craters on Earth caused by asteroid impacts. He's identified more than 130 of them, including Meteor Crater outside Flagstaff, Arizona. This hole in the ground is almost a mile wide and 600 feet deep. It was created some 50,000 years ago by a meteor, which is a fragment of an asteroid. Is this something that we need to be thinking about and worrying about, as if there aren't enough things to worry about?
Well, I wouldn't worry about a crater the size of Meteor Crater, Arizona. After all, the effects of this crater, the severe effects on living things, was limited to a distance of maybe 20 miles or so in radius around this crater. What one should worry about, perhaps, would be much larger craters, craters that would be 10 or 20 or 30 times the size of this.
It was an asteroid measuring about 6 miles across that many scientists now believe led to the extinction of these beasts, dinosaurs, which were wiped out 65 million years ago. After years of searching, scientists now think they found the culprit, or at least evidence of it, a crater 110 miles wide in and around Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The impact of the asteroid resulted in an explosion equal in force to all the nuclear bombs in the world going off at once.
First of all, so much dust is thrown up in the atmosphere, it just makes the surface of the Earth utterly dark for a period of time that's probably the order of a few months. So you just shut off the sunlight to the surface of the Earth.
The result was an ecological holocaust. Without light and heat, plants soon died. So did the animal species which fed on them.
It was an ecological open space for new species to occupy, and there was a burst of evolution. In fact, there was a burst of evolution of mammals. In a certain sense, that's why you and I are here to talk about it today, because we're part of, human beings, of course, ultimately evolved out of that burst of mammalian evolution that started at that time.
It's a 2-hour position, plus 25 degrees rough. Well, it's more than that, plus 28 or so.
But the life forms which began with an asteroid collision could end the same way. An asteroid could wipe out humankind as easily as it did the dinosaurs. Such notions drive people like Eleanor Helene to keep up their vigil.
Call it out.
She scans the night skies using an antiquated 18-inch telescope. But even with this outdated technology, Helene, who learned her craft from Dr. Shoemaker, has done some pioneering work.
We have found over the last 20 years a great number of near-Earth asteroids and comets. When I started, there were just virtually a dozen and a half that were known.
How many have you discovered?
My program has been responsible for between 55 and 60 near-Earth asteroid discoveries, and a complement of comets of about a dozen.
In fact, Helene discovered one asteroid the night before we arrived.
In this instance, it appears to be new as far as we're concerned. Obviously, we'll go on and follow it tonight. So yes, the moment of discovery, like in all things, it perhaps keeps us going.
Helene and others find asteroids by comparing timed exposures.
If we were to take a snapshot of the sky, it would look just like a star. But because we're taking time exposures, we see the motion during a time exposure. So we will see this object move from place to place over the night, and hence it's a moving star.
Little is known about the composition of these moving stars, but scientists do know where they come from, a place they call the asteroid belt.
There's a big gap between Mars and Jupiter, where a planet might have formed but failed to form, and that's where the asteroid belt is. The stuff that might have made a planet out there still is in small pieces and colliding and crashing around.
One of those pieces is named Gaspra, photographed this fall when the spacecraft Galileo ventured into the asteroid belt. When objects like Gaspra bump into each other, the collisions can produce asteroids with Earth-crossing orbits, irregular trajectories that can cross with Earth's. There are, in fact, thousands of these large Earth-crossing asteroids. Unfortunately, the asteroid hunters have found and tracked only about 100 of them.
But the rate at which we're doing this at the present time, collectively, all of us that are working on it around the world now, is such that it would be a couple of centuries or more before all of the objects larger than, say, half a mile across were found. And those are the size objects that we're ones really concerned about, things that might produce catastrophic effects globally.
Such concerns have struck a nerve in Washington with politicians, perhaps worried that Earth-crossing asteroids might mess up their careers. After the asteroid almost hit Earth in 1989, the U.S. Congress became alarmed enough to establish 2 scientific committees to investigate asteroids. One committee is developing a plan to destroy incoming asteroids, the other, better ways of discovering and tracking them. One of the members of that committee is Clark Chapman.
The committee that was assigned the task of trying to figure out how we could detect these objects more completely has proposed an international program involving the building of 6 quite large telescopes that could produce an inventory, a census, if you will, of essentially all of the objects larger than half a mile in diameter. At the moment, we only know of a few % of these objects, but within 20 years, using this international network of telescopes, we could probably find 95% of them.
The cost for this endeavor would be around $100 million.
I think it's worth investing the effort just as a matter of insurance. I think it would be a matter of prudence to mount the effort to find those objects.
NASA's Dr. John Rather heads the committee that is recommending ways of countering an asteroid threat.
If we were confronted with a short-term phenomenon, something that we didn't know was there until the last few days, then the probability of our being able to do something about it is 0.
Some scientists, including Edward Teller, the physicist who invented the hydrogen bomb and who sold President Reagan on Star Wars, are advancing the notion that Star Wars technology could be redeployed against asteroids. SDI's early warning system would allow scientists to detect an asteroid hundreds of millions of miles away and then help target a missile to destroy it.
If eventually we do reprogram our nuclear missiles, keep a few of them around to destroy the one that's going to come in and deal the coup de grace, we will have to have some sort of terminal guidance system, an acquisition system, a guidance system, exactly the same sort of thing that people were familiar with in the Patriot. You know, it would see the rocket coming and then it would launch the Patriot to intercept, and it would guide it with radar so it would strike the rocket. Well, we have to perform exactly the same functions in dealing with an asteroid if we're going to try to destroy it or deflect it. And there's even been a collaboration or protocol between NASA and the Strategic Defense Initiative organization the past year to look at technologies that may have common impact both places.
But asteroid hunters like Chapman, Helene, and Shoemaker believe exotic schemes to destroy asteroids should be a low priority.
You know, what we would think about doing now would be quite different than what we would think about doing 50 years from now. And so it's really kind of jumping the gun, in my opinion, to rush out and develop some means for shooting these things down or blowing them up. We should really do the search and see if there's a problem to be addressed.
This was what, about a 6.5 magnitude star?
Later this year, Congress will get reports from both committees and budgets on the costs of each approach. Then it will decide whether or not finding and destroying asteroids is something the U.S. Congress should be doing and the U.S. taxpayer underwriting. In the interim, all we can do is keep our fingers crossed that there's not an asteroid out there with Earth's name on it.
The political fallout from a series of key primaries and caucuses was the major story of this Wednesday. President Bush said he was happy with his victories despite another big protest vote for Pat Buchanan. The White House scoffed at Buchanan's call for Mr. Bush to drop out of the race. No clear frontrunner emerged in the Democratic race, but Bob Kerry's poor showing put his candidacy in question. He canceled his campaign appearances and scheduled an announcement for tomorrow. Good night, Jim.
Good night, Charlene. We'll see you tomorrow night. I'm Jim Lara. Thank you and good night.
Part of helping the world live.
Right now you have that if you don't challenge yourself to use those talents and abilities, you'll never ever discover the full effect that they can have on achieving all the things that you want to achieve.
And by PepsiCo. And viewers like you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Pearson from Colorado Medical Society. Welcome once again to our studios here at Channel 6. I'm pleased to be back on this, another one of our festivals, to, of course, look out for our future and yours in quality television throughout the year, because we need your help. And there's no denying it. And I always try to deny this to myself, but I always come back with the same answer. If it weren't for you and your participation in Channel 6 and being a member of the family, well, we just wouldn't be here with the quality program we can bring you, typical of the Neil Lair Hour and so many, many others, and others that we'll talk about during the evening. Our challenge during this break is to get 10 members to sign up at a pledge of $120 or more. And believe me, the talent here with me this evening will be telling you about all of the various premiums that you, of course, are eligible for with these various levels of pledge. But it takes so little to be involved with Channel 6 and the quality programming throughout the year. We'll be returning to our programming in just a few moments, but I want to remind you that this is marking our 36th year in public television here in Denver, Colorado, and all of North America now, because of course we spread to so many different areas. Won't you please come and join us this evening? Listen carefully to see how you can be a very active member of Channel 6 family, a fair price to pay.
Presentation of the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour is made possible tonight by grants from the Gates Foundation and from Kessler Ehrlich Investments, providing services in government bonds for institutions and substantial individual investors.
Welcome tonight. Thank you for tuning in to your public television station, Channel 6. I'm Casey O'Brien from Denver's Good Times, a great oldie station, Cool 105. And right now we'd like to ask 10 of you to invest in your public TV station at the $120 level or more. Now think about it, that's only $10 a month. That would be a great way to support great programming. You've been watching the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour, of course, an in-depth look at what happened in the news today. And of course, the political discussion earlier was quite stimulating. Democrat, Republican. It's going to be interesting to see if the Democrats don't tear themselves apart, and who are we going to pick on the Republican side, and what is going to happen in the fall. You'll be able to find out more about that by watching the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour every night, of course, an in-depth look at what's happening news-wise. Tonight, we have a great phone bank here. The Norgren Corporation is here. They make compressed air components. They're based down in Littleton, Colorado. That's right. Give yourselves a great big hand. We sure appreciate you being here tonight and helping us out on the phones. And they're going to be taking your calls right now. Now's the time to get up. 10 new members. It's real easy. It's a goal that we know that we can make, and that you're going to help us make that tonight to support your public television station. You know, $10, like I said, $10 a month at the $120 level will get you all sorts of nice premiums too that you can find out about. And it's very easy to join. We've set it up. There are 4 easy ways to join. I'd like to tell you about those right now. Of course, you can become an instant member here at Channel 6. You call on the phone. We'll send you the remittance envelope. You send it back in. It works very simply through the mail just like that. Or, of course, the second easy way to join is by becoming, sorry, I get myself untangled here. You can join on the installment plan. Each and every month, of course, Channel 6 will remind you to send in that pledge. Number 3, the electronic banking way. Channel 6 will automatically deduct your funds from your bank if that's the way that you so choose. And of course, the credit card way can make you an instant member here at Channel 6. Discover, Visa, MasterCard. Ways that you can do that by getting on the phone right now. Tell these fine folks your number and we'll sign you up. Now, if you join at the $40 level and charge by becoming an instant member with your credit card, we're going to give you this very fine King